so we're gonna talk about aliens. As you can see, it was this talk has been planned like back in June, I believe, but since then a couple of things happened. So just to clear it out, this is the interstellar asteroid slash comet 3I slash Atlas. There's just a rock, like a lot of wacky stuff going around it. No. This is a maybe pretty cool, sound research with some like chemical depositions we found on Mars that might be a sign of previous, things with metabolism happening there. But we are gonna be talking about fictional aliens, not real aliens. Either exist or they do not. We are in a very, privileged position right now where we can just go like, we don't know, maybe not, but one of these things gonna be true. But for now, who knows? Fictional means made up, not real, imaginary. This talk is, basically a glorified like promotion for this YouTube channel, not my channel, just I really like it, it's pretty cool. So if you like what you hear here, feel free to check it out. Also, I will have some, other like either like blogs or YouTube channels posted. They will have a QR code, so keep your phone, handy if you want to capture that. Okay, so we often see aliens in science fiction, and someone has to make them up, right? You cannot like go to another planet, take a picture of them and say, hey, that's not the look. They need to be made up, and there must be like some reason, some creative process behind creating them. And oftentimes you would see some kind of common patterns, I would say. Like this particular example, they're all from Star Wars, but it is just showcasing something that's called the rubberhead aliens, which is basically like the idea that aliens, when they're depicted in visual media, are roughly human shape with just some extra stuff on like the visible parts of their bodies. It's because it's production, right? It's because it's easier to make a movie by strapping some stuff onto a human actor. But generally speaking, you would just often see that when people try to picture aliens, they would just throw some random wacky stuff on them just so that it looks different. They need to make something different, and how people imagine what different is subject to some bias and stuff. But like the idea behind what I'm going to talk about is like, can we actually approach creating a different organism, an alien organism, rationally, and what comes of it? This is a book which has one of, not the earliest, but probably one of the earliest depiction of an alien protagonist, actually, like a creature from another star system. And there's like a lot of stuff we can discuss about, actually I think it warrants another topic, just the entire like philosophy of sci-fi and how we approach aliens, and like how do they sometimes use as just an external frame of reference so that we can look at ourselves kind of critically. Why people used to use like the noble savage archetype for these ones, but then eventually kind of switch to aliens, I suppose. Sometimes they basically like take parts of angels, and not like this. This is a real thing. This is like a UFO cult from Czechia that like literally exists. But like this, so that aliens take the role of what was previously achieved with like beings like angels, where they're like moral judges that come to humanity and explain where we're doing things wrong. But aside from these kind of musings as to what's the philosophical point of the idea of an extraterrestrial in our culture, here's a framework I would like to use. It's not something I got from some reputable literary research, right? It's just a homegrown framework I'm using to approach the situation. So, don't cite me or do cite me. But when we're specifically in the context of sci-fi, for example, right? I can see three main elements that are pertaining to them. Usually every work would be a combination of some, but not uncommonly one of them will be dominated. One is purely entertaining. It's like space opera. It's it's just cool to watch a flick where they have pew pew blasters, just starship and that kind of stuff. It's just fun to watch. Allegorical is actually I think dominating in sci-fi. Over recent decades is where you have a message, you have a moral, you have something to say about the current world, about the real world, but you wrap it in sci-fi futuristic imagery. So you're making a story about robots or androids, but you actually have a real world message that oppressing people is bad. You just paint it with this kind of medium, which is actually, I believe, what classical antiquity prophetic literature has been doing. The Book of Revelation is basically doing this about the Roman Empire. I've been told. I'm just gonna check if I have it recording.
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay. I just got paranoid. So. So explorative is actually what I want to focus on. Is when we don't have a predefined message and then structure a story about it, but we have a seed presupposition, a seed what if, and then we explore the possible implication of it, right? And following from that, a couple of terms that are pertaining to this topic, speculative biology, speculative evolution, are actually quite, close together. It is just, let's imagine something that follows the laws of, life science as we know it, but we get creative. We, try to explore what could go differently, what other, possibilities were here, what other worlds were possible. Evolution just focuses more on a systemic approach, where biology can just describe one particular, a feasible internal anatomy of some, fictional species. And world building is if you were writing some stories, or you're running tabletop RPG campaign, and you create a setting for it. You would often go into fleshing it out, oh, this ruin is from the war of the fourth council, where king, yada yada, right? And you can get entrenched, you can get too passionate about it, and just it just outweighs all the other writing and narrative. World building is where you take this idea and run with it. You turn the creating your setting into the entire thing, and the narrative becomes tangential, secondary, which is cultural activity people are doing, and it's pretty cool. I like it. Okay, so a good example of actually creating good world building in popular media, Avatar, which is surprisingly inconsequential for how much money has been spent on it, and it has obviously a social commentary in it, but all the images, all the world where it's going, where it's happening, well, its setting is actually very well thought through. They have companion books for it, where they literally describe molecular biology of the species you find on Andorra. and like how all the like flying islands work, and how the spaceship works. It's actually very well thought through like spaceship that could potentially work in real life. It's not just a cool picture. Okay, probably most of you are familiar. A couple of things we're going to work through. These two guys, but most importantly their contribution to our knowledge. Copernicus, famous for Copernican principle, means that if you find yourself somewhere, wherever, whatever you see around yourself is probably the usual, most normal, ordinary case, right? Not an outlier. So if we live here on Earth, we have a reason to suppose that Earth is actually a pretty ordinary world. Just because we are here doesn't necessarily need to mean that we're special. It was originally used as like a heliocentric model, right? If we, just because we are not on Earth and look at the world around us from Earth, doesn't mean that the Earth is the center of the universe, right? We're, ordinary. And bias, known for biasing statistics, and one part of it is it actually allows you to deduce the most likely general case from just one observation or very few observations, which is what we kind of have to do when we talk about, possibility of, extraterrestrial life, because we only have one example of where life exists. There's actually a cool video that, okay, a cool video about like application-based statistics here if you want. Anyway, so to begin designing alien life, you actually, it's actually a good idea to not just start with designing the entire thing like from scratch, but you start from the start. You begin from the beginning, from something like very basic. Very like fundamental seed, and you then just could you before that? I just couldn't find the focal point. Okay, yeah. So you find something like very fundamental, and you iterate and you iterate and you iterate. It's actually very good like advice for creative writing. I've been told that you start from something like simple seed, and then you produce a derivative, and then produce a derivative, and derivative. Over several passages, you are arriving at something, novel and something interesting. And this is like a good, idea in like world building in general. If you just, create a mythical kingdom with, stuff like castles, it's probably going to be. It might be somewhat generic, but if you just keep changing it a little bit and adding more details and subtracting more details and asking what is, eventually you will come up with something eclectic, something cool. Okay, so for our purposes, I think good idea to start is it's generally how it's like approach. The replicators. The replicators for us would be DNA. The idea is that however the alien life might have a structure, it would need some mechanism that transmits, accumulates, changes transgeneration, right, over time. Because otherwise it's just just random biochemical noise just coming in and out of existence. But if you have like a memory mechanism that passes on whatever has happened before, you have like an evolutionary process. We do, like potentially a lot of things could be used for these kind of like memory molecule and process DNA, but actually if we look at the research, we would see that the building block of our biochemistry. Specifically, they found on this like asteroid, which probably used to be a comet. It's not like from Earth. It's probably from the solar system, but it's like from the very beginning of the solar system, before life has appeared on Earth. These like collection of matter already had uracil, which is like one of the building blocks of RNA, which we generally tend to think came before DNA. So this might be a hint that RNA, DNA kind of things are not a product of some unique coincidence that has just so happened. It's actually a very well paved road, because these kind of things, they just these kind of organic molecules just exist in the universe. They kind of were created. They were synthesized spontaneously from just like some methane and like nitric oxide. So maybe it's something along these lines. It kind of gives us a hint. Okay, the energy source is usually a star. If we're talking about life as we understand it, there are other options. The inner heat of a planet. We can some creative author can think of another example like gravitational heating from orbiting like a black hole, or like radioactive decay in the innards of the planet, which could be a good seed in and of itself, right? And then you start iterating. It's usually a star, and this might determine, for us, something that collects our star's energy is plants, or something that's like photosynthetic or phototropic. So at the very least, it derives energy from light. And the nature of this star might determine how your photosynthetics look. Like how much UV does it emit? If they need any special adaptations for that. Like what kind of wavelength does it emit? How will it affect the color of the plants, right? There might be other factors that affect the color of the plant, because from chlorophyll we need magnesium. Whether your setting, where your environment you're working on has a lot of magnesium, maybe too much, maybe too little, it might affect itself, because carotenoids, the yellow and red pigments in the trees, in the leaves, they don't require any metals. They're just made from carbon and hydrogen. So they're basically free because plants synthesize them from thin air. Does your plant have a lot of CO2? Does your plant has gaseous CO2 so that it's easily available everywhere? Because this is what they use to make organisms. These are questions that you could use as constraints that around which you will shape the unique form of your aliens, of your world. Terminal electron acceptor is a big nitpicky example, just because I'm working with mitochondrial biology. It's very close to that. It's basically for us, terminal electron acceptor is oxygen, right? What it is it is energy sink, right? In addition to having an energy source, you need an energy sink to which it will go. In the power outlet, you need at least two holes. For one of them, electricity comes in, for another one goes out, or you can have ground. But you got the idea, right? If you have a hydropower plant, it's not enough to have the reservoir on the uplands and the dam. You need an outlet in the lowlands, otherwise the water has nowhere to go and you cannot extract energy from it. They could be different, they are different. If your life uses iron compounds as terminal electron acceptor, iron is usually not a gas, so it will need to be found, and your life will need to eat it. Not to use it as a source of energy, but to use it as like a waste bin for spent energy-rich compounds, if you get what I mean. Just like a lot of pictures and maybe some comments. Okay, right. Oh my. Anyway, so this is like a cool project. It explores things like body. Okay, so I've been giving this talk in a bridge form to another audience, as you can see here. So if they could understand it, probably could you. So body. It actually also explores like their like technological and cultural aspects, which is really also like a cool aspect. Alex used to have a Twitter account. Guess what happened? But yeah, he would like post some musings and rationales between this and that choice. Okay, so there's the map of the planet, as you can see. You see, like, you don't have a lot of green. You have a lot of like deep red blobs. This is actually their vegetation because no reason, but it adds something different. And we do have it on Earth as well. There are like classes of algae called red algae or brown algae. Guess what color they are? We have these are not algae, the purple ones. They're archaeans, but you can get like colorful with them if you provide the justifications to why. We don't have a lot of red plants, right? So body plans, which is like an important choice when you're working on your like alien image, is one of the main parameters. Essentially, like you can peer into nature of life on Earth in general and imagine it as a vector space, right? A space made of several fundamental parameters, and each instance of life is one particular coordinate set in this space. And by nudging it and like shifting it around, you can come up with something new. So like, are they bilateral, radial, spherical, this kind of stuff. And there are preconditions for each of these ones, right? What makes a living organism be bilateral symmetric? Can we do something like differently? Can we do like a bilaterally symmetric body plan where it usually doesn't appear, and what would we need, what conditions would we need, and this adds like extra shape extra complexity to your work. Fish, there are a lot of fish-shaped things, so another rationale is that if something has appeared on Earth independently several times, it's likely to appear elsewhere in similar conditions, because we assume that the laws of physics are pretty much the same in the universe. So you have this kind of viscous, dense medium through which living organisms move throughout its volume. It's probably going to be fish shaped, everything is evolving into crabs. Yeah. This is not entirely correct. A lot of arthropods, every arthropod is evolving into a crab, but you don't have a molluscoid crab, you don't have mammalian crab, you don't have bird or dinosaur crab, but you do have all of them in fish shape. So everything is actually evolving into fish, except Brassicolorakia. Brassicolorakia is evolving into everything. You can approach like ecosystem. You can approach like if grass is grass shaped, so a lot of things are grass shaped. So grass probably exists. A lot of things are bird shaped. So they will probably have something like, if they have similar density atmosphere and kind of similar gravity and like ratio between them, so you can kind of play with these parameters and arrive at some different conclusions, some different conditions. Okay. your environmental conditions are gonna strongly shape what you're gonna find. In humans, this is sometimes some people try to apply it in humans, and this is called geographical predeterminism, which is more often than not applicable. So be wary if you see people trying to use this reasoning in application to human society. But over evolutionary time scales, this 100% works. And if you make an alien world, you will have an alien biosphere. Ecological, another cool channel, another cool account. You should advise to use, in addition to iterative approach, biome, which is environment, and also niche-driven approach, essentially ecological approach. So your living beings are gonna interact with each other, and through this shape each other, as is like shown kind of here. You see energy source, energy sink, and then you have like your organics producers, but then you have the guys who eat them, guys who eat the guys who eat them, and they keep affecting each other. This cool project with where cows evolve into everything, like actual real cows, imaginary real cows, but you get me. Same thing we see on Earth. This guy up top is the ancestors to all of them. That one is called a mouse deer, and it does look like a mouse deer. And it is technically, relative to a moose, but things can change over evolutionary timescales if you iterate enough, because you would have an actual evolution towards you. So they're both rodents, but this is a rodent doing rodent thing. This is rodent doing cow thing. So capybaras are basically mice that are slowly turning into cows. This guy is ancestor of all of us, all the vertebrates essentially, all the fish in the ocean, all the birds in the sky, geese and meese, you and me, cats and dogs used to be this guy, or something similar to this guy. Even these guys used to be, came from the ancestors that looked like these guys. Super cool, super well thought account. Definitely recommend. A lot of cool imagery, a lot of very deeply thought through structural work. High gravity world, super Earth, high gravity world, higher gravity, but also very dense atmosphere. They need extra strong skeletons. They need a lot of support. But then you see the thing at the top. If you look at other guys, you can see there's something that's common they have between each other. We would be tempted to say it's their head, because if you look at a lot of vertebrates, you will see vertebrates. You would see something in the front, which is head, which we know has eyes and mouth and stuff. But we shouldn't, always go there to intuition. We should try to play around, do something like gotcha moment. This is actually their sensory organ, which uses collects infrared radiation. It's not their mouth. It's just their periscope. Same with this guy, this slug. Its ears are actually its nose. It's it is smelling with these things, and its tail is actually its gills. So it is breathing, and its gills are around its anus. So it works for it. Really cool, evolutionary approach. A lot of I've been hinting at sexual dimorphism thing, which is very deeply thought through here with a lot of clever, clever ideas. I don't think I have time for that. Right, but
you are correct.
Check it out. Different clade which you see have different hallmarks, but also something similar. High metamerism, the sensory organ. This must be called Eringegeria. No, it is not. It's a loss. flying guys, how flying guys look at these kind of world. Fish is fish shape, creepy crawlers, and just a couple of honorary mentions. If you like what you see, I'd encourage you to check these resources. Like YouTube channel, their blog, YouTube channel, but you will see like a lot of stuff which cannot be feasibly covered here. And once again, the link to the
For now,